Hi, my name is Caccavale, and this is my Retail 242 SWAT final presentation on the Atlanta Braves baseball game that I went to on September 15th, 2018. So basically, this is going to be a summarization of the trip to my trip to the brand new SunTrust Park in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm going to be explaining many of the pros and cons of my experience and the stadium and its surrounding area. The course of the presentation, I'll describe the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats of my visit. So I'm going to start with the strengths. The main strength that I realized was the surrounding area of the stadium, the clear signage and the very helpful employees that were in the stadium and on the concourse, the great between-inning entertainment that the organization put on, and the positive and family-friendly environment of the organization. So the first strength that I noticed was the surrounding area of the stadium, and that area is called the Battery at Atlanta. When you first walked up to the stadium, there was a great outdoor area with a bunch of restaurants, bars, live bands playing, and it was a very different atmosphere than normal baseball stadiums you get nowadays. Since it's such a new stadium, they did a very good job with the approach coming up to the stadium, and it kind of gives fans a different atmosphere before entering a baseball game. And then next is going to be some of the in-stadium entertainment that we noticed. Basically, when we first walked into the stadium, there were a ton of employees that met us right away and were willing and able to help us get into our seats, finding food or beverages that we wanted to get to. And as we were walking through the stadium, we also noticed that there was very clear signage throughout the stadium and on the concourse, which told us where our seats were and which way to go. And then the last strength that I noticed was the between-inning entertainment. One of the biggest promotions that the Atlanta Braves do put on, they started it this year, I believe. It's called the Beat the Freeze race, where I think it's in the middle of the 7th inning. They have a fan come down and try and race around the outfield and beat the freeze. And that has caught national media attention this past baseball season, and it was something that really got enormous fan engagement throughout the game. So now on to the weaknesses. The main weakness that I found out with my visit was there was a lot of trouble getting to the actual stadium. There were very crowded entry points, and there were only 3 of them throughout the course of the stadium, and the food and beverage prices were extremely high. So going actually into the stadium, Atlanta traffic is notoriously very bad. So where we were in Center City of Atlanta, it probably was only a 2-mile drive to the stadium, and it took us roughly an hour and a half to get there because of traffic, and there was just a lot. It was during rush hour and everything like that. And then when we got to the stadium, there were only 3 entry points, which you can see on this map, which is kind of unlikely with most stadiums nowadays. A lot of stadiums have multiple entry points that allow for fans to get into the stadium much quicker and easier. So that was a bit of a hassle. And then the other thing that we noticed with SunTrust Park being a really new stadium, food and beverage prices were extremely high because they have to offset costs of building a new billion-dollar stadium. And now some of the opportunities that I noticed with my visit. The Braves used to be a struggling organization, but now they are kind of back on the rise due to the fact that they have a very young farm system. They have a lot of young players in the minor leagues who are up-and-coming stars in the major leagues, and the baseball fans have noticed that within the last 2 years with their 2 emerging stars, Ronald Acuna Jr. and Ozzie Albies. They did just get a brand new stadium, like I mentioned, about 2 years ago, and the outside entertainment that came with the stadium, so that's a plus towards the organization to bring fans into games. While it was a pain to get to the stadium, it was very inexpensive to travel due to the fact that there was a lot of public transportation, such as the MARTA, that would get you to the stadium for around $2 or $3, and it was very cheap to do. And another opportunity that the Braves could do is to increase their social media presence in today's day and age. With social media being such the big thing that is today, it would be very smart for the Braves to increase their social media presence and kind of get their name out there more and get more attention onto their team through social media. That way more people can see it. And then the last thing that they can do is to increase their presence in the downtown Atlanta area by maybe putting more bars in the area, more restaurants that are Braves friendly, and increase the Battery area right outside the stadium. So right here, this is a picture of the Braves' 2 new young and emerging stars, Ronald Acuna Jr. and Ozzie Albies, like I mentioned earlier, and then this is their brand new stadium, which they opened in 2014. And then these are 2 examples of, this is the MARTA, the logo for the MARTA, and that's the local metro transit in Atlanta, which makes it very easy to travel from the stadium, from downtown, and vice versa. And then this is just a screenshot of the Braves' Twitter. And like I said, if they could do a good job with revamping their Twitter and getting bigger presence on social media, it would be very beneficial for the organization. And then so last is the threats. Some of the biggest threats that I noticed with the Braves in the future is that they play in a very, very competitive NL East, which that division consists of the Mets, the Phillies, and the Marlins, and the Nationals, and the Braves. So with that organization, the Mets, Phillies, and Nationals are all also very young teams who have been competing in the past few years for World Series titles. So that is going to be a little bit of an issue for the Braves, but if they can continue to go on the path that they're on, there shouldn't be an issue. And then the next thing is the looming contract negotiations of their young superstars. I mean, as you know, in professional sports, contracts do come up every now and then, so they're going to have to worry about that within the next few years, about re-signing their young athletes as well as re-signing their veterans if they want to keep on the path that they're going now. And then the last threat that I noticed was that there are much more developed teams in the MLB currently than the Braves, such as the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Dodgers, and the Cubs, and the Astros. Those teams have their rosters more set to win now, whereas the Braves are looking to win in the future. So that's going to probably have a little bit of a hinder on the Braves' plans for the present time to win a World Series. So then again, this is just a picture of the teams that are currently playing in the NL East, and then this is just a picture of one of the teams that is going to be in the Braves' way for a little while in order to win a World Series. So overall, my experience to SunTrust Park, to the Braves game, was one that I would never forget, and it's one that I really hope to experience again. I think that the Braves are doing incredible things with their organization currently, and I mean, as the future goes on, I would love to keep tabs on the organization to see where they progress and to see how well they can keep on doing in the future. Thank you very much.